Hello, everybody. How's it going? I know. We were supposed to go live a couple minutes ago, but we started having some technical difficulties. So, again, I know. Matty's going to be joining us in a few minutes. I'm Dan. This is D. There we go. It's this way. How's it going, Damon? You doing good, man?
All good, mate. All good. Nice to see a change of formation the other night. That's what we've been asking for a long time, and a win to top it off. So yeah, happy with that.
Absolutely. And just arriving right here to the team, Mr. Matty. How's it going, Matty? You can hear us? Everything going well?
Yeah, everything's good. Good to be back. I haven't done a stream since I got married, I think. So that's a mad one. But yeah, I'm good. Glad to be back.
Awesome, Matty. Matty is now a locked man and engage everything. So hopefully your wife can share a few minutes for us for the LFC transfer room right here. But anyways, there's gonna be people are slowly gonna start getting into the stream. There's only a few viewers because we came in late. My bad. I apologize. But in the meantime, let's say hello to our very regular Jen, who is joining us. How's it going, Jen? How's it going, everybody? Lovely to have everyone here. And yeah, today we have a very special show. Also, I don't know if you can hear in the background. There's background music going on. We're going to turn it off. I promise. We're just testing it to see how it goes. But today's Transfer Central. We're going to be discussing everything related to transfer news. But first, let's get the non-transfer story out of the way, which is the one that recently came out by Sky Sports Germany, actually for Sport Bill from Germany, which said that Naby Keita is not going to start talks with Liverpool about a new contract until January. Of course, as soon as January hits, there's only going to be a few months left before the season ends. I don't know if it's the right decision or not. It could be a very risky one. Matty, does this mean, or do you think this means that Naby Keita is more than likely on his way out?
Yeah, I think so. But I can't really say I'm annoyed at it either, to be honest with you, because I'm a little bit disappointed with Naby Keita. I had all high expectations for him. Then obviously Stevie giving the number 8 in person, and it was just all this big hype. And then obviously he hasn't lived up to it in his injury record and stuff. It's a shame to see him if he goes for free. But the fact that he's saying I'm not speaking to you till January, so he can sort of reassess his options, I'm happy for him to leave. No player's bigger than this football club, and if he wants to see what options are better than him out there, well, we've got better players than him in the club. So it's one of them, really.
I feel like you said this so many times, Matty, in the past, and you've been proven right. With Wijnaldum, his left. With Coutinho, his left. I know there's another player that also left the team, and I cannot remember, but you're right. As soon as Sadio Mane himself, he ended up leaving. So you're right. As soon as the requests start getting too crazy, too highly, whether that's minutes, whether that's money, it's going to end up being a Liverpool first type of a scenario. But Damon, getting a little bit more into the contract situation with Naby Keita, I'm going to ask you, if you were to decide for Naby Keita to stay, what would be the conditions? What's the length of the contract? What do you think should be the pay, the weekly wage? Because you also got to consider this is a boost contract. He's going to renew, so he's likely going to want more money. So under what conditions would you keep Naby Keita?
Definitely discount off medical bills. That's number one. That'd be straight on there. So yeah, you can't give him much, can you? You've got to drop his wages because he's not available much. You can't play someone over 100 grand a week. That's just going to play 2-3 games every 5 months. It's not good enough. So regarding his future, I think we said it the other week, didn't we? About, you said it could be like a conspiracy room. We said, didn't we? And saying that, is he really injured? But it's putting in questions now that the story's coming out that is now looking at other options and things like that. It just all adds up, doesn't it? 2 + 2 = 4. Some people get 7, but it is 4.
This is really a good point. We don't know what really is going on behind Keita's mind. He's asking for more game time. He's asking for more money. He's asking for more. What is it that he wants, really? Because when fit, Keita is one of the first names on the team sheet. So it's not really about a game time situation. It's more about like a reliability situation. But let's start saying hello to a lot of people who's joining in late. We have Yasir, I think is how you say your name. How's it going? We have Haler. We have our very own Louis saying, Matty, you got a new chair right there? I think he does.
Yeah.
What else? What else? Matty's a happy man. He built it himself. He put it together. But we also have Jen. We also have Jen, who, by the way, has donated once again. As always, Jen, we love you from the bottom of our hearts. One of the LFC Transfer Room's most important viewers, regular contributors as well. What else? And then Jen also says congratulations. I don't know if that's for the engagement or for the chair. Let's say it's for both. Let's start getting into more transfers, guys. I'm not going to touch too much on the Naby Keita situation. Both of you guys already said what was mostly important. So what I'm going to bring to you guys next is a rumor from a Bayern Munich midfielder, a youngster that actually has been confirmed by two sources, both in Germany, both reliable. One being Florian Plettenberg from Sky Sports, and the other one being Christian Falk from Sport Bill. And that's the rumor claiming that Liverpool are actually looking into bringing Musiala, I think that's how you say his name, from Bayern Munich, the young midfielder, full of promise. And now, again, this is confirmed by two reliable sources. I haven't watched much of Musiala himself, but I do know that he's getting a lot of regular game time with the first team for his age. So I'm going to go straight into Matty. Matty, have you seen anything from Musiala that actually brings attention? Do you think he's the right profile for the player that we should bring in?
100%. He's an unbelievable player. He comes through the England youth system with Jude Bellingham. He's a little bit more of a deeper lying playmaker than Jude, where Jude's a bit more of an attacking playmaker. But Musiala's unbelievable. And to be honest with you, if we were to get someone like him, he can play the 6, he can play central midfield. He's sort of a similar profile, I'd say, to probably Tchouaméni, in that sense that he's more flexible in the defensive side, but he's absolutely unbelievable. I just don't know how much it cost us to get him from Bayern Munich. He's incredibly talented. I said in the writers' chat, I think a few weeks ago, that it'd probably be an unpopular opinion, but I'd probably rather bring him in than Bellingham, because I feel like Bellingham will just eat all of our summer budget. I mean, I'd love Jude Bellingham, but we're talking about our owners here and spending 140 odd million on someone would probably be the only sign. And where I think you could probably get Musiala for 60, 70. So you could maybe get somebody else in as well. He's an unbelievable player, though. He'd definitely improve our current options from instantly, and he's so young. He's unbelievable.
Interesting shout right there, Matty, as well, claiming that you would rather go for Musiala as well. Like I said, I haven't watched him as much. I've seen only highlights, so I don't know as much. 19 years of age, attacking midfielder, very versatile. Seems like a lot of people actually agree with you as well, Matty. Rigo, Jan, what else? Let's see. Carl says Musiala was superb against England. A lot of people actually agreeing with you on this one, which is a very interesting profile. I don't think I heard us being linked with him recently, so the fact that he just came up is probably good news, not only because if we do not get Musiala, that means that Liverpool are actively looking for a potential Jude Bellingham midfielder. So we'll see what happens there. Obviously, positions are probably different because Musiala is more of a attacking option, number 10 option by the looks of it. But Damon, let me ask you this. Is this the right profile of player that we should be looking into, considering that we just brought in Carvalho, considering that we just have Harvey Elliott, who, despite being more dangerous in the front line, tends to play more in midfield? Do you think that this is what we should start looking into?
That's a good question, though, because, like you said, Carvalho and Elliott, they're looking like to play number 10 now. If we do keep this formation, the 4-3-2-1, 4-2-3-1, then the number 10 is looking like Elliott Carvalho, but that's where he plays, isn't it? So that's, I don't know, really. That's a good question. Maybe Carvalho and Elliott could cover wings, and maybe the number 10 as well. He's a brilliant talent, though, like Matty said. Absolutely. His close control of the ball is just ridiculous. And his confidence is ridiculous as well. In that Bayern Munich team, for what he's done this season, I've watched a few games with him this season, actually, mainly the Champions League. And the way he receives the ball and the way he dribbles past players is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous at that age as well. Quite similar to Bellingham in terms of that confidence and drive for midfield. But I'd love to get both of them. Wouldn't you love to get both of them? I mean, we ain't going to get both of them. But that, Gene will... ownership that just would love to just put money into us now and say, look, bit of ambition, say, that's it. We need this really refreshment, and they'd go and buy them both. That would be unreal.
Them two fix our midfield.
Every day of the week. Every day of the week with Fabinho behind them.
Interesting shout right there. If you ask me, I think we should look for a more defensive profile, whether that's a younger midfielder or a more established midfielder, more of the likes of Tchouaméni. But the problem right now is which options other than Tchouaméni, who by the way left, are at the same level as Tchouaméni that we could actually go for. I mean, the only possible solutions that we got and have been under the radar names, such as the Borussia midfielder Kone, such as other younger profiles.
Van Gaal is a good player.
That one as well. What else? So, but I believe there's none of them are in the same level as Tchouaméni ability-wise at the moment. Obviously, maybe the ceiling could be up there. So I fear that if we don't move him for a player of that caliber, we can probably end up with an understudy or with a potential player that eventually will get there, right? So let's see what else some people in the comments are saying. Speaking of the Bundesliga, by the way, Haler is saying, congratulations to Xabi Alonso, who, by the way, just recently became the Bayer Leverkusen manager. Huge jump in his career, by the way. I believe he's only coached youth sides, Real Sociedad, the Liverpool side, if I'm not wrong as well, the Bayern Munich youth side. I don't know. Also, if you're an avid YouTube watcher of the Adidas Tango Squad, he was also the Tango Squad manager. But it's a huge jump. Also, a very interesting one. And let's just ask a quick question regarding this. Matty, if it was down to you and you would have to choose between Gerard Alonso as Liverpool's next manager in a few years, of course, not now, who would you go for?
It's hard because Gerard hasn't impressed me at Aston Villa. So at this present moment in time, I don't want Stevie G to come to Liverpool because his legacy he's got at Liverpool he's God tier, and I don't want him to come to and manage and sort of tarnish that legacy, really. And we haven't really seen much of Xabi Alonso, but I feel as though Alonso would be the one who would probably make the move more than Gerard, because Gerard's still got a lot of work to do at Aston Villa before he'd even be in contention for the Liverpool job, I think. He hasn't done great there, really, if we're being honest. So has he got the capability to come and manage Liverpool? Probably not right now. And I feel as though Alonso's took a bigger side as well than Villa, in the sense, like Leverkusen. And I know it's not and it's an easier league, but I just feel like, I don't know, they have European runs and stuff sometimes, and I think that if Alonso proves himself there, I'd bring him in. But why not bring the two of them in and have Gerard's manager, Xavi as assistant, or something like that? I think them two working together again, music to me is that.
Interesting shout that. I see it very unlikely, of course, because one of them is going to want to be the protagonist. But imagine that, Xabi Alonso, Steven Gerrard on the sideline working together for a future Liverpool. What about you, D? Do you like any of these two players, or would you like to see one of them instead of both together?
That's a tricky one, isn't it? Because we haven't seen enough of them, have they? I mean, like Matty said, Gerrard's really not shone at Aston Villa. It did amazing at Rangers, absolutely unbelievable. Perfect job for him, that was. And then coming to Aston Villa, it was the right move at the right time, don't get me wrong, but it's just it's really hit him now, hasn't it? Last few months, he's not really getting his approach across. They've got the players as well at Villa. That's the thing. I think that's what's sort of exposing Gerrard a little bit. The fact that they've actually got a decent squad, apart from Mings, they've got a decent set of players. And whilst Rangers didn't have that, managing a different sort of ability set of players is a completely different scenario for a manager. And I'm hoping he can turn it around, because I'd love him to be a Liverpool manager at some point. Obviously not the next couple of years. I don't want him to be managing when FSG are in charge, because I can't imagine working with that budget. Like Matty said, this legacy Gerrard's got here, I do not want to see that happen to us. But you know what, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Man United, I don't want to see that happen to us. And I don't want it to ever turn sour to him. I'd rather him not be manager at all than see that happening. So,
Damon, it's a positive stream today. It's a positive stream. No FSG talk.
But yeah, Alonso's a good one, though, because that Spanish side, that Spanish footballer, is a very intelligent footballer. So I can imagine him going into that dressing room and being tactical. Whilst Gerrard's going to be the man manager, a bit like Klopp, I think Alonso's going to be much more tactical. So
Wonderful.
an interesting match.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so let's get into transfers because obviously this is the transfer room. We have plenty of talk. There's some talk about KANTE. There's some talk about a couple of young wingers also possibly coming to Liverpool in January. But first things first, someone asked, I think it's Kenpachi in the comments, who says, what happened to Jeremy Doku? Obviously, there's been no rumored moves or links with Liverpool going on. But we have something else now. We have a similar profile of player, a similar age for the player, totally different league. We're going to see what happens. So the first rumor of the day comes from Tom Bogert, who's actually an MLS insider or journalist who works with plenty of different publications such as The Guardian and 442 and whatnot, who says, and actually was one of the first ones to break the story, saying that there's many clubs in Europe interested in Chicago Fire winger, which is 18 years old, and his name is John Duran. John Duran, Colombian, obviously Luis Diaz countryman, recently made his debut for Colombia as well, 18 years old, supposedly. I don't watch as much as MLS as if I should have. He's doing really good right now in the MLS. He's incredibly pacey. He's incredibly powerful and strong. So not only that, but rumors before, like a couple of days ago, are saying that the Liverpool scout that scouted Luis Diaz is actually the one that is recommending John Duran to Liverpool. Now, I'm going to ask you guys, the rumor fee is $8 million if anybody wants to take him in January. I'm going to start with Damon on this one. Damon, MLS, $8 million pounds. Do you think it's worth taking a gamble? Do you think it's worth moving for someone like that from a very weak league?
Again, it's one of those situations where if you don't get him now at 8 million, then it's going to be 10 times that. You know, by the time you get around to signing him again. So I'm going to take a chance. You know, I actually watch MLS highlights now and then. So I've seen him just a couple of times, not enough to really have a proper view on him. But it does seem he's completely different to Diaz, which is strange. Being in the same country, is much more of a quick, a bit like Salah in a way. He's a bit more quick and a bit more of a winger than Diaz, where Diaz is more comes inside and directly attacks, more like a forward sort of thing. Whilst he's a bit more of a winger, he likes to go out wide, likes to cut, you know, and get the ball whipped in. But yeah, I would I take a chance in January for 8 million? I'd take anyone at the moment because we need that backup for them wingers. You know, Salah ain't got anyone pushing him, and if Salah gets injured, we can't put RVL on right. I don't think it's suited for that anymore. So yeah, no, 8 million. You can't go wrong with 8 million, can you? See what happens. Maybe loan him back out.
Do you share Damon's sentiment considering that the player comes from the MLS? That's a huge one for me. So that's what I'm asking you right now. Do you mind the fact that he comes from the MLS at the moment?
No. It'd be quite interesting to see a player come from the MLS to the Prem rather than the Prem to the MLS like they do towards the end of the career. And just had a quick look at him then, and he seems like he plays more of a centre forward, but like he scored 8 goals in 26 games in the MLS, which I suppose it doesn't set the world alight, but I suppose Chicago Fire aren't one of the big massive teams, are they really, in the MLS when you compare them to like the LA Galaxies and stuff like that? So he's good cover for 8 million. Is he someone we can bring off the bench to grab a goal potentially? Then he can communicate with Diaz on the left, so then they're intertwining as well. So I'd take a punt on him because I do think we do need someone who can come off the bench and maybe make a bit more of an impact. So I'd take a punt on him, but I just hope he's not a bit like Tahi because he came from the Austrian league. We took a punt on him and he looked unbelievable against us, but didn't set the world alight, I suppose, when he came. But the fact he's had two starts for Colombia at only 18, it does speak highly. And Colombia do seem to have a history of churning out very good attacking options when you think like your Falcaos and stuff. And I'd take a punt on him. I would take a punt on him.
Interesting shout right there. So again, I also haven't seen him, but if rumors are true, saying that the Liverpool scout that scouted Luis Diaz is the one recommending John Duran, then for £8 million, I mean, we've done worse for £8 million. So I feel like it wouldn't be such a gamble. Now, moving into the other rumor that recently came out, and this player I have no idea about. Maybe you guys have more idea than me. I don't know. So, French league, Rennes. Supposedly, Liverpool are eyeing a move for 20-year-old winger. Hopefully, I don't say his name wrong. Kamaldeen Sulemana. Sulemana. Supposedly is very impressive. A lot of people are talking about him. And you guys can look it up. Just type in Rennes Liverpool winger, and it's going to show up. Kaladim Sulemana. Now, I'm not going to ask you about the player itself, guys, but I'm going to ask you about different profiles similar to this. And this is like a similar Jeremy Doku type of profile. So, Damon, have you seen this guy, first of all? And if not, what options out there do you think Liverpool should go for in a cheap, as far as like winger goes?
I've not seen him though. I've seen the Terrier guy, the other Ren player. Ren are actually getting it. Looking at other leagues, Ren are really coming up the league a lot recently. Last year or two, they're really, a team to watch out for. Ren, so I think they must have some talented players there. I know Terrier's a decent player, and so they must have a good group of talented players to be pushing up that league the way they have. And they haven't been there for the last 5 years until recently.
Am I wrong to think it's Camavinga? Did Camavinga came from Rennes as well? He did, right?
I think so. Yeah. So they are producing some talent. I've just noticed where they are in the league and how they're pushing on, and they're getting some good victories under the belt. I've noticed. So they must have some talented players coming through, and he must be one of them. So I won't really count him out because I've not seen him yet, but I trust what I see in terms of Rennes and what they're producing at the moment. In terms of other wingers, Cody Gakpo, sorry, he is special. Again, tonight, got 2 goals. I don't know if you've seen his goal earlier on where he shimmied and he faked a shot and he took about 3 players on at the same time. Like, just ridiculous. He's a talent.
Young,
so I'd probably go
captain, top goal scorer, very tall, very strong, fast. It looks like he has it all. I don't know if he's going to come in cheap, but Cody Gakpo from PSV, right?
Yeah, I think it would be quite cheap, to say it's from PSV. They don't really sell for big money, Dutch teams.
Well,
he was for like 20-something million.
That's true. Matty, same question as you. Different options to go for in the forward line. And have you seen this guy that I was telling you about? I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Sulemana. Let's just say his last name, Sulemana.
He looks all right on a market value of 18 mil, but what worries me is he missed 13 games last season with back problems, and he's already missed 3 games this season with knee problems, and he's already 20. So, yeah, Liverpool will probably go and buy him, because that's just a typical Liverpool sign to buy someone who's injury prone. But he has contributed to 50% of Rennes' goals in the Europa League this season, which is interesting, really. Still yet to score this year. He scored once in League One, but he can play the left, the right, and the centre, and I think that's the ideal profile for Liverpool. Someone who can play both positions. They signed him for 15 mil from that Norgårdsgade in Denmark, so obviously they thought something of him in last season when they brought him in, and he's still playing this year after missing the back injury. So he's going straight into the team whenever he's fit, and I think that does speak value of him. Really, he is only 20, so he's going to keep progressing. I think it's someone who we'd probably look to see how he gets on this season, maybe even next season before we brought him in. But he looks exciting. He can play across the whole of the front three, which I think is important for Liverpool, because when Salah, I know he's never injured, but if he is injured, the drop-off's stupid to anybody else for Liverpool. So I feel like we need someone who can play them positions better, because like Jota, as good as he is for Liverpool, I hate it when he plays the right. I hate it. I just don't think he's nowhere near the player he is. Same with Luis Diaz. He's a lot more effective on the left. So someone who can play effectively on the left, the right, and down the middle, I think's invaluable to the club, really. It's just his injury problems in his 2 seasons in the first one of Europe's big 5 leagues. He's already missed 16 games in 2 seasons, which worries me.
Interesting. And maybe alternative options for January, so for cheap, that you may consider, Matty. Have you ever thought about maybe a few guys, or would you just rather wait for a big winger next summer?
I'd probably rather wait for a big winger. one player who really excites me, you probably wouldn't get him off Real Madrid now, is Rodrigo from Real Madrid. I think he's a phenomenal player. But I just don't think you'd get him. I think he's as valuable to them as Vinny Jr. But I don't really, to be honest with you, I haven't really thought much of attackers. It's more midfield because I feel like our attack's all right. And I know people are hating on Darwin Núñez and stuff, but he's still only 22. He's going to become world class. I've got no issue with him. I think he's going to be unbelievable. When against Rangers, his movements off the ball, he caused problems. He's a few more months under Klopp, and when he can understand the language and stuff, he's going to get better. I think you put a tweet out about his language, and he is really struggling to understand English at the minute. So once that comes and he can understand basic football phrases, I think you will see another level to Darwin, where it's more a midfielder I think we need. I'm quite happy with our attacking options at the minute. You've muted yourself.
You're actually, my bad. You're actually right about this too, because if we remember when let's take Naby Keita's fitness issues to the side. When he barely came in the first few weeks, months, years, he didn't know how to speak English at all, right? So it did take him some time to adapt, to learn the language. And as soon as he did, let's say 1 year, 2 years later, he started showing the real Naby Keita that it was in there. Now, again, fitness issues came back and then destroyed his career at Liverpool, really. But I do believe that language is a huge factor into a player's success at a team. So we'll see definitely a different Darwin Núñez as soon as he does learn the language fully, or at least pretty decently, right? So, guys, there's so many topics that we still have to discuss. I don't know how long we're going to run for this stream, hopefully under the 35-minute mark. But still, in the meantime, we have Bellingham, we have KANTE, we have much more things to discuss. So I'm going to bring the big one, which is the one in the thumbnail right now. N'Golo Kante, supposedly, according to French outlet Foot Mercato, from a very reliable journalist. His last name is like Almas or something like that. I got to go check, but it's a reliable journalist. He's claimed that N'Golo Kante and Chelsea are set to depart. 31 years old. Chelsea are not offering him a new contract. N'Golo Kante wants to leave, but he wants to stay in England, London specifically, but I'm pretty sure he will be flexible within England. Again, 31 years old, not the most reliable when it comes to the fitness-wise, because he's been going downhill with his fitness after he turned 30 years old, 31. So, Damon, N'Golo Kante may be the profile of a player that we need right now, but maybe not the age or the fitness reliability. What do you think? Would you make a move for him, considering that he's free in the summer?
No. I don't think we're at that stage anymore where we've got to take Chelsea rejects. If Chelsea don't want him, then, why are we taking him? And Kante is one of the best players I've ever seen in this league. One of the best players I've ever seen in this league, and he's one of the most likable players I've ever seen in this league as well. And I would have loved him at Liverpool, prime Kante, but no, I don't think he'd get enough game time with Fabinho there. You'd need him to play. At 31, it's pointless. I'd rather get a youngster. This is what we're doing wrong with our team. We're keeping players like Milner, and they're taking up squad numbers and squad places for youngsters that we can bring through, or youngsters that we can buy and proper gel into a team and for the future. And forget Kante, that's just doing that. That's what Man United do. Man United buy old age pensioners at that age, and it goes downhill. We're not that team, are we?
True. I mean, that's one side of that's one point of view. Now let's go to Matty. Matty, do you agree with Damon said? Would you not take Kante, considering the player that he has become and the player that he is right now? Do you agree or not with D?
I'd take him. I would take him for free. And what you've got to weigh up is Liverpool look as though they're probably going to go into a 4-2-3-1 now. Now, as good as Jordan Henderson looked against Rangers, let's be real, Rangers are probably championship quality. I think most Premier League sides would probably beat them. Jordan Henderson is past it, I think, now for Liverpool. He's not the Henderson he once was. So is Kante a better option in midfield than Jordan Henderson? Not to start every week, but to come in. Is he better than what we've got, bar Fabinho and Thiago and that double pivot? Is he better than Henderson? I'd probably say he was, to be honest. And then if we continue to play a 4-3-3, then Kante is also a good backup to Fabinho, because Fabinho hasn't been great for the past year, if we're being honest, but he's probably just been doing too many jobs in that midfield. So for that context, yeah, I probably would. Just because I think Jordan Henderson's probably passed it a little bit now for us.
I think my next door neighbour's got a better chance of being in than Henderson, to be honest. I think he's a better option than John Henderson.
That's what I mean. So because Endo's getting
really
the
much
game
against
time, like, I think having someone like Kante come in, if you're getting them for free, and being covered, if we're playing 4-3-3 to Fabinho, or being covered to Fabinho and Thiago in a double pivot, it allows you to manage Thiago's minutes a bit better, because Thiago's our best midfielder by a country mile, but when he's injured, we struggle. So bringing Kante in would be phenomenal. But like Hayla said, he's on 290 grand a week, but that's in Mo Salah money territory. So he's only going to come if we're going to pay him less money. But there was a comment, I don't know if Damon said it about United. I feel like United is more suited to United, even though they've just got Casemiro, because they will throw 300 grand a week at him for him to come and be a squad option, where Liverpool wouldn't. So as much as I'd like him, because I think he's better than Hendo, I don't think we'll pay him that much money unless he's taking a pay cut. But then saying that, if he's on a free, we probably will pay more, because Milner's first deal, we paid him more than a lot of our players because we got him on a free. And I'd argue James Milner is probably one of the best free signings in history.
Interesting. So we got two sides of the coin right now, which is a very interesting thing. When you ask me, I don't know. I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm still split, because I do agree with a lot of what Damon said. I do agree with a lot of what Matty said. I do think it's a better option to what we have currently, especially with this new system that we're trying to play in. But at the same time, the wages, the age, the reliability is going to be worse than bringing a Thiago in. Because when Thiago came in, he was around the 29, 30-year-old mark. He was demanding high wages. He had the fitness issues. We knew it. But at the same time,
he didn't have a job in the performance, did he? He got a man at match in Champions League final about Thiago.
Ooh, that's a good point. That's a good point right there. Thiago was not at his peak, but he was doing great in the Bundesliga and for Bayern. Well, Kante right now, is going downhill. I don't know if the club can still revive a career at 31 years old. We've seen wonders happen, but on a free, it's a huge gamble. I don't know. So let's start going into the latter, the last part of the stream. We're going to be talking about the last rumor, and I know we sound so repetitive about this one, but more news about Jude Bellingham came up. I know. Every stream is the same. Jude Bellingham. So reports are now saying that there's 3 clubs in England that are behind Jude Bellingham, and there's one club in Spain that it wants him. So Real Madrid have supposedly taken the first steps into signing Jude Bellingham. They are pretty confident that they can get him for 100 million euros, which is similar to the reported fee that Liverpool was supposedly confident about getting him as well, according to multiple reports. So it seems like he will be available for 100 million pounds or euros. We still have to play around with numbers. The report does say, though, and where the important or the interesting part comes in, which, by the way, comes from Revelo, which is like a new outlet that has come up with all these very reliable journalists from Spain. They're saying that Liverpool have been trying to sign in a high-profile midfielder, and if they don't get Jude Bellingham, they're likely going to go for another big profile. So the question is, and Matty, I feel like I know your answer right now, but we'll see what you say. Matty, Jude Bellingham, go all out or go for a different option right there? And I feel like I asked this question to everybody. Well, would you go for a couple or one different option than Jude Bellingham, or would you stick to your guns to go with Bellingham?
Jude Bellingham's guaranteeing you 10 years of unbelievable football talent, service, if you bring him in for 100 mil. So then you're probably working out 10 mil a year. If he comes in, Bellingham, you're giving him like a 5-year contract. So you can probably split the payments with Dortmund, 25 mil a year. So although it's coming in and it's like 100 million, I feel as though the way Liverpool work transfers, we could probably bring him in and somebody else. My only worry with Bellingham is our owners at FSG. And I just feel like if he came in, is that it? And the end of this season, we're probably going to lose Keita. The Ox is going. I know he doesn't play anyway, but Milner's going, thankfully. Henderson's only got a year left on his deal and he's not getting any better. So then Thiago's will only have a year left on his deal and he's a year older. Then our midfield's very, very weak. So if FSG say our budget's £150 million for the summer, and Bellingham costs 100 million of it. Can we fix the rest of the midfield with 50 million? If we can't, then yeah, I'd probably side more with going and getting some other options. But Jude Bellingham for me is the one player who I feel as though will come to Liverpool. He's called Jude. His family are keen admirers of Liverpool. I'm sure his dad's already been to the AXA, if I'm not mistaken. So I feel as though he will come. I don't think he'll go to La Liga. I think he wants to come and play in the league, because any kid who's born in this country dreams of playing in the Premier League. Jude Bellingham's dreamt of playing in the Premier League his whole life. So if he's got the choice to go and play in the Liga Santander or the Premier League, he's going to pick the Premier League. It's just if City going for him as well, because he really, really, really likes Erling Haaland, and I feel like that's a big pull for him. But we'll see. If he goes to City, he's more for money, I think. But I think with Jude Bellingham, he strikes me as a player who he likes the history of clubs and stuff like that. That's why he went to Dortmund. Good history, good fan base, and if we're going up against that, Liverpool has the best history and the best fan base in the league, in my opinion. But like Daddy Pig saying, I am very worried, because if City go in, they're probably going to win.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the recent reports that have came out about Erling Haaland's wages. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but supposedly once everything comes into play, Erling Haaland is earning £900,000 a week. It's almost £1 million a week. I mean, that's crazy. Damon, same thing as Matty. Do you think it'll be worth bringing Jude Bellingham in for that crazy amount of price? And would you mind him going to Man City?
Jude Bellingham, Jude Bellingham. I think the club's gone too far in this situation where they can't afford not to go for him now. Telling us that we're waiting for him, we're waiting for him, we're waiting for him, and waiting for him. This was always going to happen. We're going to wait for him. And if we don't get him now, we say we can't afford him. We knew the price last year. We knew the price the year before. FSG don't know what to spend. And it's as simple as that. They don't want to spend. And that's it's already coming out now. The report's coming out now that they're not willing to pay the money. You know, it's sort of setting us up for, so it's not surprising when it comes around in the summer, like, oh, we didn't go for him. Well, I thought we were going for him. The report's coming out now. The club have gone too far in this scenario, in this saga. They have no sort of, they've got no legs to stand on if they don't get it. Not even don't go for him, but even if they don't get him, they've got to get him. I think they've got to get him, because the way they've waited for another midfielder and allow it, I won't say write the season off, but in a way they have, by saying we're happy to go in the season with that midfield, those midfield options, just to wait for Bellingham, and to not go for him because we can't afford him. That's ridiculous. Everyone knows what price Bellingham's going to be. Like Matty said, we can spread it out the years. It's going to be probably a 5-6 year contract. That is nothing a year. That really, for 130 million, 6 years? That's 20 million a year, 20-something million a year. So there's no excuses now for the club. If the club don't get Bellingham, and if the club don't go for Bellingham, then there's going to be some. There's going to be some manic. I'm going to be leading happy fans to play that now.
Oh my God, D! It's always been so rigorous with Jude Bellingham and signings, and I like that because I do support the same notion. I would like, though, unlike a lot of people, I would like more players instead of one player for a bigger amount. Now, that's mainly because I never thought that club would make mistakes with signings, not financially wise, just with talent wise. But we've seen the likes of Taki, who didn't really live up to the expectation. We've seen the likes of, I don't know if you're gonna you want to count in, what's it called? Shoot, I lost it. Naby Keita, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. What else?
Shaqiri didn't do much. I know he had his games, but Shaqiri didn't do much. Even Origi weren't really that good.
Shaqiri got us to a Champions League final. Come on, Dave.
So did Origi, but they were never that good, were they?
I want to agree with Damon. The same thing, like ability wise. Well, they not what they done with moments, but like ability wise, package wise, they weren't like good players because when clubs signed them, I don't think like they ever knew that they were going to have this small impact as a sub. I don't think so, at least. Do you disagree, Matty? Do you think they were good signings?
I can't say bad about Lord Divock. I can't. I just haven't got it in me. Shaqiri, maybe. I mean, he did play unbelievable in that Barca game, and he stepped up when we needed him to, and I appreciate him for it. But Divock was the most frustrating player in the world. But when he played on the last man, he was all right. He really was all right. It was just we seemed to play him a lot on the left, or he'd come on with like 10 minutes to go or 5 minutes to go, and he's not really going to do much then. But Divock will always have a little special place in my heart. But like Dirk Kuyt, he was just that player who was always there when you needed him. And I do miss Divock. I miss him.
Interesting. Matty doesn't want to join the Divock Origi hate train. No, it's not a hate train, by the way. It's just more of a realistic overall train. I don't, because I know that he's struggling in Italy right now. So I don't think he has too many goals, or not even maybe no goals at all. But
he named flop of the season, like he did when he went on loan in France. He's been named flop of the season already, and so
I think AC Milan scouts must have just watched a YouTube compilation, because there's no way they watched the full 90 minutes of Divock Origi and thought this is the guy for us. They watched a YouTube compilation and thought Champions League final winner, Barcelona winner, 90th minute winner against Everton. Oh, is this guy? Why is this guy not Ballon d'Or worthy? What, you know what I'm saying? They thought they got a Ballon d'Or winner, didn't they, at that point? When they
got Giroud, and he probably watched him off YouTube as well, because if you watch Giroud's best goals, he looks
Giroud's the same, yeah. And Ibrahimovic, they thought, it's 41. You know why it's 41? Look at careful.
You guys, but I mean, it's true. I feel like the correct move for Divock Origi would have probably been to a team where he was going to be like a regular starter. So Milan had bought him as an impact sub, just like how he was at Liverpool. Maybe not the right choice for his career. I feel like a move to Burnley or Southampton would have benefited him a little bit better instead. Not saying that those teams were interested, because we don't even know if they were interested at all. But anyways, as we reach the end of the stream, because we've been for 40 minutes already up, and I would love to go on for longer, but we need to keep you guys hanging in there for more. We're going to be coming back tomorrow, guys. It's been a very interesting stream. I love talking with you guys. Thank you, everybody. They keep in the comments, they keep talking about Kone, Rigo, Lewis. Interesting for Kone. Some people saying Martinelli. For some reason, Louis talking about Joe Allen. Okay. Anyways, guys, it's been the LFC Transfer Room. It's been Matty, D at the bottom. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you in the next stream tomorrow. Take care.